Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Not Your Father's Movies. I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Jesse, and we are the Dad Fathers coming at you with some very slapping energy.
some family defense energy. Family defense energy.
It's true. It's true. That's what it's all about.
It's all about.
But just as a preamble here, we are joined for a very special episode today. This is our Oscar episode, our second ever. And we're joined by a very special guest. Jesse, would you like to introduce him?
Yes, we are joined by Joe. Joe, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. My name is Joe McCarthy. I am friends with Dan, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, I have some experience working in live television with the Academy Awards and other various Hollywood award shows. I can tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about all of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. So what was your official job title again?
I'm a stage manager and associate director.
Okay.
Cool.
So I think you described it earlier as something I had seen on TV shows before, as like the person that goes out and gets the people from the dressing rooms and stuff and leads them to the stage.
Yeah, we're the guys with headsets on backstage, kind of organizing the chaos of backstage. And we're also directing everything in front of the cameras. So there's a director and an associate director in a control room and television truck. They've got, the monitor of, 50 different screens for every camera feed and graphics logo. That director is calling that, and that's what goes out to the broadcast. We're directing the traffic in front of the stage. So we're calling all the cues for people to go on stage. We're getting all the set pieces in place correctly. We are cueing people as to when they should start talking. We're shooting off confetti cannons.
Okay.
Smokes, if there's fake smoke coming on the stage, anything that happens on the stage, we control.
Okay. So there was a moment during the show where Kenneth Branagh won an award, and he didn't have the Oscar in his hand yet. And then the woman kind of was walking fast, and you were like, oh, she went too late.
Yes.
Like, would you be the person in control of sending that woman out?
Yes, or somebody on my team would have been. So usually that's the head stage manager.
Okay.
And my guess is that either he missed the cue because something else was happening backstage, or the trophy girl was distracted and MIA for a second. And that's probably more likely what happened. Because Gary Natoli, who's the head stage manager for the Oscars, is probably the best in the business. He's the guy that came out 2 or 3 years ago for when La La Land won. When La La Land quote unquote won. I was sitting at home and I worked with this guy, Gary, very frequently. And I had done the red carpet show that year. So I had worked the red carpet and I had gone home and I was just sitting on my couch watching the actual main show. And all of a sudden I'm watching the Best Picture win it. And I see Gary Natoli out on stage. And I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is nightmare scenario. He should, we tried to never be seen. And it was an oh crap moment.
Oh, yeah. You
can say everything. We only ever bleep out words.
Okay. It was definitely an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Gary, he would have been the one sending that trophy presenter out.
Okay.
And my guess is that she probably was just absent-minded and probably, starstruck by, Will Smith backstage.
Starstruck, yeah. So before I want to hear more and more about that as we get deeper into it, but I think that I would like to just get one incident out of the way. On live television, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and told him to get his wife's name out of his mouth several times. Our broadcast was cut in a couple places. We saw some clips with no audio, like some random clips with audio before it finally recentered on Chris Rock, who was standing in obvious shock, trying to kind of figure out how he's supposed to finish out giving out the award, and doesn't really seem like he knows what's going on. This has already been turned into 1,000 memes, which is fantastic, and we'll post some of our favorite ones later. But this is historical. I've never seen a famous person attack another famous person on screen.
Let alone like Will Smith. Will Smith is like
Will Smith.
He's known as being a nice guy. A nice guy.
Yeah.
Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Fresh
Fresh
Prince.
Prince.
And it was
It's like
scary, man.
Mr.
watching him walk
Rogers
up to that
coming
guy.
up and slapping somebody. To me, like
This-
that's yeah.
He's look, he's played irascible and violent tempered men all of his career, and it's clear now how he can tap into that. He's actually pretty good at it.
Yes.
That was terrifying. I would not have liked to have seen full size Will Smith come barreling down in front of me, even with having, all the cameras and people around. So I guess I'd have to ask, like what did you guys think of that? Maybe Joe, how would you have handled that if you had been there? What would the chaos have been like?
There's really nothing you can do. And that's the beauty of it. I have to say, as someone who works with live event television, it might be one of the greatest moments in live event television history. I watched it with pure joy.
Yeah, as soon as Joe saw that, he was on his phone the rest of the show, just showing us slow-mo clips and different angles.
I was just scrolling Twitter.
Yeah. My favorite.
But I knew it wasn't fake the moment, like as it was happening, because they cut they censored it.
Yeah,
When they cut the audio, I knew something was wrong, and that it was not a gimmick.
Yeah, I thought it was fake at first. I thought it was a fake slap. I thought I saw like a hand go up on the chest or something like that. But then the audio was cut. And then you showed me the replay where that did not happen. And Chris Rock just full on took it.
Yeah.
And then it looked like part of his face was starting to swell while he was giving the award. It's like, oh my goodness. He just got hit real hard.
I have been decked full in the face like that, with an open hand before, and the effects they take a little bit, but once they do start happening, you start to like slur up. So I can imagine just like, you got all these cameras on you, millions of people watching, like, we got to get through this before I can't really talk right.
Yeah.
I'm a little shocked that Chris Rock just took it.
Yeah.
It got right back up. Like it didn't look like it really phased him. It looked like
I
he
think he was just
like that.
shocked.
Yeah.
He saw Will Smith coming towards him. I saw Will Smith. I was like, oh, like he's gonna go and be like, hey, you can't say that sort of shit about my wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like grab him by his jacket and be like,
Yeah, like kind of buddy, but like meaning it,
But like
Yeah.
That
Chris
was not
Rock
what I
was like
expected.
had his hands behind his back and was leaning forward with the giant Chris Rock smile that we all know.
Yeah, and love.
And just
And
took
love.
it.
I actually kind of respect that. I
It
respect that a
wasn't
lot.
that bad of a joke.
No.
No.
It's about G.I. Jane.
Given the nature of Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's marriage, like he could have gone a lot deeper.
Well, there's two things I want to point out. One is that there was already a joke about Will Smith's open marriage earlier in the ceremony, where he was invited up with single men.
Mm.
Like I thought, I
missed that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of. I didn't think it was crossing a line because they have openly stated there were no open marriage. So yeah, I guess he could have gone up there, but I don't think hasn't Will Smith gone on record as basically not really liking that too much.
He does not like his open marriage. No.
Okay, yeah. So there's that. So that probably riled him up, and then like apparently, just something I found out in the past couple hours or so, that his wife has a balding condition that she can't stop and has been
alopecia. Yes. Yeah. And very recently she's become much more public about the fact that she's losing it. And that's actually why she showed up at the Oscars, shaved, is that she's owning the condition,
Yeah. And G.I. Jane 2 is a direct reference to that because all the characters have shaved heads.
Yeah.
What was it Demi Moore? G.I. Jane? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Famous. I mean, she's on the cover, shaved head and everything. I feel like, though, I mean, if you guys remember back in years past, or even in Golden Globe ceremonies where people like Ricky Gervais would host, the jokes were so much meaner and much more personal. We never approached this level of aggression in response to a joke.
Yeah. I thought the joke was over the line and a little bit in poor taste, but slapping Chris Rock was not really cool.
I do remember Robert Downey Jr. getting pretty upset at Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
But not slapping, obviously. But
did he do anything physical or just like showing just
He made a joke about Robert Downey Jr.'s drug problems in the past, and he I forget exactly what he said, but he
vocalized something.
He was a vocal, and he had the room support, I think.
Yeah.
I think Mel Gibson also got after him.
I feel like a vocal response
Believe that.
is something totally different. Like to vocally say like, "Hey, you're an asshole. Shut up." Like, okay, I will get behind that and be like, "Yeah, that was a tasteless joke. You deserve to like shout out and like have a response." But to go up and slap someone, I mean,
too far.
Jeez, that's a level too far.
Yeah, I thought Jesse
public
Plemons...
television.
It wasn't too far. It wasn't far enough. It was that
great. You're here for the chaos. I love it. No, okay, that's interesting. I just heard Jesse Plemons. So Mike tweeted out of our Twitter account the jokes that Amy Schumer was making to Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, I know.
Were awful.
So much meaner. So much meaner.
Yeah, she called her like a seat holder. And then Jesse Plemons is looking uncomfortable and pissed. Like, that is my wife.
Like, she is more famous than both of us put together.
Right.
Like, she's amazing.
Which is the joke. Which is the joke, right? Yeah. And that's why Amy Schumer's making that joke. And I get why, as the sort of comedian that Amy Schumer is, like, that's what you'd go for. But I don't know. It was uncomfy. Yeah. It was weird. Everyone's dirty laundry was out for everyone else to see. Will Smith published that scorching autobiography, right, of his own in the lead up to get this Oscar. Like, everyone's secrets are out, and everyone's having a real hard time dealing with them. I love that about this, and I just wanted to make sure we shout it out right away before we get deeper, and then we'll reference it constantly, of course.
I loved it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I loved Sir Anthony Hopkins reference, which was, I don't have much to say. It's all been said already by Will Smith, except for peace and love.
Yeah,
thought that was classy.
Yeah, is this a new award that's going to happen now? Like the getting the shit smacked out of you by Will Smith award?
It should be.
I feel like it needs to be an annual thing now.
If you look up like videos of Will Smith, there's plenty of videos of him semi-assaulting people who get in his face, like the numerous reporters that have like touched him or whatever, and he'll reach out like way out with his big ass arms, and he'll just go whap. This is a pretty known thing. Exactly. I mean, they're reporters, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe if we can pivot then, Joe, to you, sir. So how many shows have you worked at for the Oscars? Like how long?
I have done the Oscars, I think, on 4 different occasions. And I've only done the main show one time. But I used to do the red carpet shows, and then I did the main red carpet show one time as well.
Cool.
And we do award shows. So I've worked the Screen Actors Guild Awards. I do the Directors Guild of America Awards every year. I'm in the DGA. I'm a DGA stage manager.
Okay.
We do the Emmys. We do the only like big award show that I haven't done is I've never worked on the Grammys.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, we do all kinds of Hollywood award shows. It's kind of our bread and butter. It's our busiest time of year. And I recently, within the last year and a half, moved from living in Los Angeles, where we lived for 10 years, to Phoenix, which is a whole nother story, kind of COVID related move. But this time of year, I've been back to Los Angeles 4 times in the last 6 weeks. So I'm back there a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
How did you get into it? How did you start working as like a awards show person?
To be honest with you, a little bit of nepotism.
That's Hollywood to a T.
Yeah.
I grew up in Washington, D.C., and my mother worked for a guy named George Stevens Jr., who was the executive producer of a show called Kennedy Center Honors. He created the show. And the Kennedy Center Honors is another big-time award show that happens every year that they give a Lifetime Achievement Award to 5 people. And it's usually someone from film, ballet, opera, rock music, country music. And the president actually gives you the award.
Cool.
So the president's there, and it's a big It's like the
president of the United States of America.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
the all of the honorees sit up there with the president
Cool.
in a box.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So my mom worked for this guy who created that show, and my mom was eventually a producer on that show. And George has a very interesting background, and George is kind of like my mentor. George is an old man at this point, but George created the American Film Institute.
Oh wow!
He was the founder of AFI in the 1960s, and he also produced the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award, which happens every year.
Mm-hmm.
I go back in June to tape that. I forget who's getting the award this year. But George is a big time Hollywood person. He has 2 Academy Awards himself. And his father was a famous film director. His father, George Stevens Sr., produced or directed some old classic Hollywood movies like A Place in the Sun, Shane Giant, The Diary of Anne Frank, The Greatest Story Ever Told.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
So I got into it with that. I started as a PA, just getting coffee, and then I started working in script departments, which is kind of the basic trajectory path to being a director. You learn how to build a show working in the script department. And then I became a stage manager on the Kennedy Center Honors. That was my first stage managing job. And right after that, in order to be a stage manager, you have to be admitted into the Directors Guild of America.
Gotcha.
And so once I got into the DGA, which is the big union that every director and assistant director are members of, that's when I moved out to Los Angeles and just kind of, one job led to another, and you just get on that circuit of Hollywood shows. And I also do very bad game shows. I've worked on a lot of very crap game shows that got canceled after one season.
Family Feud. Have you ever done Family Feud?
Never done Family Feud. I did Price is Right, though.
Oh, okay.
Did
awesome.
Price is Right for 2 seasons.
Wow.
Nice.
Did Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, wow.
The genre is technically called live multicam television. So it's any kind of television that has multiple cameras. On most shows, we have minimum of 4 cameras, but usually it's about 20 cameras. And that's opposed to a show like Breaking Bad, where it's single camera and they shoot it cinematic style. So any multi-camera show is what we do.
Wow. That's amazing. And then when you're not doing that, you come on a crappy DIY podcast.
Of course.
In your free time.
Cool.
Yeah.
In your free time. Yeah. Well, so you worked across all these different kinds of shows for all different kinds of associations. What's like your most favorite moment from any of those shows? Not just Oscars. Like what's a treasured memory that you have?
Personal memory. I was just telling them this. I mean, there's a lot. But at the Oscars, one of the coolest things I remember, and this was the first Oscars I ever worked at. I was standing in the wings and walked. So part of our job as a stage manager is we bring the talent we pull them from their seat. We bring them backstage to send them on stage. We bring them to hair and makeup. We bring them to their dressing rooms, and from their dressing rooms to the stage. We kind of just monitor all their traffic. And once they walk off stage, we bring them back and put them back in their seats so that the camera operators can cut away to them to get reaction shots. Because we like to have, that seat filler moment. Mm-hmm. We do actually put seat fillers into the seats so that there isn't, the last thing we want to see is like a wide shot of the audience and see empty seats in the audience.
Yeah.
So this was 2012, maybe 2013. Adele, I had to bring her back to her dressing room, and Adele had just won the Oscar for
that's awesome.
The James Bond movie, but I forget which one.
Skyfall.
Right? Yeah. And I'm walking her back, and she's just staring at her Oscar. She's like, "Oh my God, I just won a bloody fucking Oscar." I'm like, just sit there, like, congratulations, that's really awesome. And yeah,
that's the actual reaction.
Yeah, it was just really it was also like my first time being at the Oscars, so I was still kind of just awestruck being there, and then just seeing that raw emotion from a mega star of just pure shock and joy was pretty kind of cool and revealing. That something no one else would see, and that was kind of cool.
Right, no cameras rolling.
No,
that was just authentic
not
reaction.
This was even before like the days of like. I think now they probably have social media teams following those people just to like put stuff up on YouTube or on Instagram instantly. It was like me, her publicist, and like her boyfriend, and just us walking down the halls like in the depths of the Dolby Theater.
Nice.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So next time I see Adele, I'll be like, remember the time you won an Oscar? I'm standing right next to you.
I remember your quote, which honestly, like, that should have been the thing that was read out. Not like, thank you so much. Everyone should be like, holy shit.
If you watch her speech, if you go back and watch her speech, she is like very emotional. So like when she held it together as best she could on stage. And when she got off stage, she just let it loose. It was really just kind of surreal to just see that pure emotion. I mean, I can't imagine winning an Oscar. So,
yeah, maybe one day, man. Okay, I guess. Well, I guess kind of getting it a little bit further into it, just sort of about your opinions. In your opinion, do the Academy Awards get it right often, or not so much?
Not so much. I don't know. Yeah, I guess for the most part they do. I don't know.
Yeah, we talking like 60-40, 70-30?
It's all subjective. It's all your matter of opinion. You know, I hated Coda. You know? I really wanted Belfast to win. I thought Belfast was a brilliant movie.
Nice.
But I knew going into. I thought Power of the Dog was going to win, and I thought Power of the Dog was incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
my thoughts exactly. I thought it was also going to win, and I also thought it was boring.
Another, going back to my history here, this guy that was my mentor, the first time I really cared about the Academy Awards was when I was in 7th grade. My mom's boss, George, was brought on by Terrence Malick, who was a famous film director, to be the executive producer of a movie called The Thin Red Line.
Oh, wow.
Which was a World War II movie.
Oh, wow.
And my mom left us for 6 months to go to Australia to go film that. And so I was all in for The Thin Red Line. I was very invested in that. And I really do think The Thin Red Line was the best film that year. But The Thin Red Line was overshadowed by another great World War II movie by George's friend, Steven Spielberg, Saving Private Ryan. So we got a little overshadowed on that. And, and then out of all of that, Shakespeare in Love won that year. So
Yep. Super famous.
Going back to my first memories of really consciously watching the Oscars, I've been disappointed in the Oscars.
So you just tie it. So every time you think Oscars, just like bitter disappointment. Is the number
bastards.
one emotion. Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. So we're naming The Thin Red Line. What are some of the favorites of yours, or maybe favorite Oscar winners of yours from years past,
or Oscar not winners? I won't say losers, but
I can't tell you the greatest Oscar snob. I mean, my all-time favorite movies.
Sure.
Got to go Godfather.
Oh yeah.
I think my favorite. I'm a huge fan of the movie Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Chinatown is just a brilliant film.
And you mentioned Casino earlier too, right?
Yeah, Casino's not I wouldn't call it some great cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think
there's some people that are it's better than Goodfellas. I'm not one of those people, but I've definitely heard that before.
I totally am.
You are?
I think it is significantly better than Goodfellas.
But it's not.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to fight.
Yeah. But it's more I could watch Casino every week for the rest of my life, and it's just I like the movie. I don't think it's some great movie though.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Okay.
It's a personal favorite.
Yeah, my personal favorite. Another great film that I love is a movie called The Bicycle Thieves.
Oh yeah.
Vittorio De Sica, that won Best Foreign
I,
Film, and I believe it won Best Picture. I think it's the only foreign film to ever win Best Picture.
Yeah, I think there's another one in the 90s, but continue.
Yeah.
I like that movie too, just because me and the director shared heritage. Vittorio's, see
Vito's,
Vittorio's, yeah.
Yeah. My parents were very good, with my mom especially being in the business of showing me old films. Growing up as a child, we would watch movies every week, and my parents were Italian despite my Irish last name. So my parents were very into Italian films, and when I was learning to read, that's how they taught me how to read. Was watching silent films and Italian films.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh wow!
So yeah, like we would watch Battleship Potemkin, which
Oh wow,
Sergei Eisenstein was the director. A lot of
baby
Fellini.
carriage.
Yeah, the Odessa Steps, brilliancy, and been replicated thousands of times.
Right.
So De Sica, Fellini. There's another great movie called Cinema Paradiso. I think that might be my. If you've never seen Cinema Paradiso and you're a movie lover, it's one of the best odes to the brilliance of movies and how movies can touch you and just really shape your outlook on life and just how important film is. And as I assume we're all good Catholics here.
Yeah.
They're.
I mean, I try.
Well,
I don't.
I know these guys are. I don't know about you guys.
It's subjective.
There's some very good old Catholic stuff in there, so it's one of those like.
I mean, we're all big fans of like A Man for All Seasons.
Yeah.
We are all practicing Catholics. Yes.
Yeah.
So
there's some very funny confession scenes in there, and the priest is like the central figure. Is a crotchety old priest, but really just has a love for the main character, even though he doesn't always show it. And if you ever
classic,
the ending of that film, I cry every single time I watch it. So
okay,
I haven't seen that since the first time I saw it. I think I was 8 years old, and I think it was on HBO. And I don't even know if I've seen the whole thing, but I remember watching it and really engaging with it, despite being really young. I'll have to go back. I haven't thought about that in years.
Well, you guys should do a podcast with Cinema Paradiso, and I will be glad to come back and.
Ooh, all right.
Wax poetic about the brilliance of that film.
Sounds like we're gonna do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Boy. And then this question actually is from Dan. So Dan, maybe you want to ask it.
Yeah, it was a question I wanted to ask about, because you meet all these celebrities and these actors. Do you feel like that has affected how you watch movies? The fact that you kind of see them, more as people maybe than the rest of us do, has meeting all these directors and all these actors changed how you watch a movie?
I wouldn't say meeting them, but working in the film and television business, I have a greater appreciation for what it takes to get that made. And all, starting from literally scratch paper and getting just the process of putting a television show together or putting a film together. I just have a tremendous amount of respect for the craft and the art that they do, even though I do it on a much smaller scale.
Sure.
And I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a director or an assistant director on such a massive film like that.
Have you seen any movie this year where you're like, wow, that must have been a real pain in the neck to make?
Well, as I said, I fell hard for Belfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Belfast was must have been a more difficult undertaking, I think, because it does have similar to, it had a like Bicycle Thieves, it had a very neo-realism feel to it, with like some of those young actors in it that were not professionals.
Okay.
And while that must have been challenging, I think it brought authenticity to it. And I mean, I can't imagine doing something like Dune.
Okay.
I have no conception of even how to film something like that.
How do you start? I don't know.
Villeneuve is a madman. No one knows how to do that.
Yeah, Belfast, I think technically was fairly straightforward.
Sure.
To shoot that, and the acting was fairly straightforward, but it was very raw, and I think that impressed me to get that. And also, Kenneth Branagh is such a brilliant actor. I'm sure that he was able to, from behind the camera, pull the best out. I mean, pull the best out of those kids and all the other actors in that. Because I mean, Kenneth Branagh is really just a brilliant actor.
I bet that only he could have done something that looked like that, especially because kind of based on his own life and all. I know that when I wasn't a huge fan of the West Side Story remake, but I know when I was watching the Mambo scene, that boggled my mind. I have no idea how anyone could make something that looked like that. I mean, it's Spielberg, one of the greats, but still shockingly difficult to just even to watch.
I actually have somewhat of an insight on that.
Oh yeah, Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. I worked with the director of Dancing with the Stars, a guy named Alex Radzinski, and his head stage manager is a guy named Gary Hood. Gary Hood was one of the guys that brought me into the business. Mm-hmm. In fact, Gary Hood signed my application. You have to have 3 people sign your application to join the Directors Guild, and Gary was one of those. But Gary brought me on for Dancing with the Stars, and also he and Alex do all those like live musicals that you've been seeing on television. And I got a chance to work on Grease Live, which was on Fox a couple years ago. So I kind of have an idea of how. I mean, we did a musical live,
right?
There were no second takes. There were no. We screwed up.
Did you screw up?
I didn't.
Oh, good. That's great.
But my job wasn't too complicated. My job was to literally get dancers on a golf cart and move them to another part of the Paramount lot.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But so yeah, I kind of understand how that choreography goes, and it is very impressive. But he had some of the best people in the live event television world working for Spielberg did. He had some of the best people from the Broadway world working for him. And obviously he had the best crew, camera operators working for him. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Steven Spielberg, but to me, it's not as impressive as I think other people would think it is.
So you have actual insight. I mean, I guess with the way you describe it that way, it would be more impressive if he didn't make it something amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a question I have, I guess, would be, does he have all this support? Is it, I just think of like Disney with their billions of dollars. Like, is it because there's money that he has, or is it because everybody just wants to support Steven Spielberg?
Steven Spielberg says he wants to make a movie. Steven Spielberg can get whatever funding he needs. And Steven Spielberg, I've met him a couple times, and this guy, George, who was my mentor, is very good friends with Steven Spielberg. My mom knows Steven Spielberg a little bit. But
was he a guy you wanted to work for when you met him?
He was very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, but Steven knows how to surround him, and that's the job of a director. The job of a director is not necessarily, I mean, with someone like Kenneth Branagh, it is about bringing out the best acting, but it's really a CEO job. It is about surrounding yourself with the best people, the best cameramen, the best script people that know how to organize your show and organize your movie. Surrounding yourself with the best, in this case, choreographers and people that can bring their experience from Broadway and musical theater. And yeah, Spielberg is a master at that. I mean, his AD team has been with him going back to Jaws. and his same thing with like Steven Spielberg, or not Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese. I mean, these people have a team that they can rely on, and they're like they've done so many movies for so many decades together that, you know, their left hand is basically a separate part of them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like with, was it David Fincher on Zodiac, talking about directing and like he said it's like trying to make a painting and shouting out to like 3 different people to the painter to get the paintbrush in the right area.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that you want the same crew who can basically read your mind.
Yes. Yeah. And that, I'm sure that's what Spielberg had on that show. I mean, had on that.
So really, there's no excuse for it to be that mediocre then, because that movie's pretty
I wasn't going to say it, but
You don't
I
have
also
to.
hate
You don't have
musicals,
to.
so whatever. Yeah, musical I think is probably my least favorite genre of.
Yeah,
Breaking
it's
my
almost
heart.
like
You're breaking me heart.
But have you seen all that jazz?
Don't be breaking my heart.
yeah.
You like what you like. I don't. I'm just happy that you're able to hear and give us like some kind of insight, because these are questions that, you know, you can sit around and debate for days, and you can use common sense logic based on your own, you know, my own observations of how organizations run and apply it to this. But it's nice to hear that, just like everything else, this is just a business, and businesses run a certain way. And I think that's instructive.
There is certainly art to it, and it is an art, but it is just as much managerial. And you know, you're a director that I work for is a guy named Lou Horvitz, and I mean, to an annoying degree, it always harps about how he's like the general, you know, of leading a team into battle. I'm like, come on, dude. But and using military slang, but it really is, you know, because the general's not out there fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The general needs to make sure that, you know, the artillery's doing this, the infantry's doing this, the air's doing this, and just getting it all into coordination and getting it all to blend in as one. As you said, it's 3 different people painting the same picture,
Mm-hmm.
and getting all of those people to come together. And when they do come together, you can make some brilliant stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So maybe talking about that brilliant stuff, maybe we can sort of loop over into the show that we just watched. So we obviously covered
what a transition.
The big thing. But about in this show, like what are some of your favorite moments, like for all of us? Maybe
the slap.
The slap.
I guess slap heard around the world.
Everything's competing for second place.
You know, we've got like before Christ and after Christ. We've got before Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and after the slap.
I thought it would be shorter.
We're on way too long.
But I just want to
happen. I stood up. I was like walking around the kitchen, like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Like, this got exciting. It's like watching a UFC fight. Everything's going crazy.
I mean, they just talked about this new museum that the Academy's opened up in Los Angeles. They need to dedicate a whole wing to the slap.
Just a wall of freeze frames, just like frame that thing.
They should just like take all the particles that sort of like fall off of Will Smith's hand over the next 7 years until like the hand isn't the same.
And you build it again,
and just like put that in a box. Like, this is Will Smith's hand.
Right.
That's disgusting.
It's really gross that you're bringing this up. But I heard when is there going to be an NFT of the slap? That's really
it probably already is. Javier Bardem's probably invested in it.
Yeah, that's right. I knew they were going to bring in NFTs. I knew that was going to come
unavoidable.
In. Like, they got crypto.com like sponsoring this thing.
Oh,
I'm like, they got to bring in NFTs, and it's going to be just as cringy as Jimmy Fallon talking about it. I know it's going to happen.
It's my favorite video on the internet.
I got to say, though, second place, this is also kind of a cringe moment for me anyway. It's so I have a 4-year-old who loves Encanto. We've seen it like twice. She loves the music. I hate We Don't Talk About Bruno. I really don't like that song. And it's funny that it's not nominated, but they had to do a live, thing of it here at the Oscars, and they had the cast to do it. And I found it really unpleasant. I thought it was really, really cringy and very awkward.
And it wasn't
Cardi B.
You Don't Talk About Bruno. It was like, we are at the Oscars. So like, I think my son was in the room at the time. We're like, oh, We Don't Talk About Bruno. And then they started rapping. And he's like, He's like, well, where is we don't talk about Bruno? I'm like, I don't know. It was there.
No adult wants to hear this song. If you're gonna do the song, it's for the kids.
Yeah.
But then when you introduce a rap solo, the kids are lost. Like, who's this for?
Yeah, it was for nobody, and it stunk.
What's funny is we had all the kids over here to watch the Oscars at Dan's house, and my daughter is 2, and we've done our best to push off getting Disney movies as long as we can. So she hasn't seen Encanto until tonight, where she watched it in Dan's kids' room. But I heard you guys talking about Bruno all night, and I'm like, why are we talking about the Sacha Baron Cohen movie? I'm like, is that like...
That's a deep pull, dude.
Like, that's certainly not very kid-friendly here.
That's why we don't talk about it.
Yeah. My children love Bruno. Borat, not so much. Mike, what was your second favorite moment? What was your runner-up?
Oh gosh, what was my second favorite moment?
Favorite can be said in many ways as well.
I was surprised at how funny Amy Schumer was at the beginning.
Yes,
the show. Like, it was a pleasant surprise
at the beginning. There's a clear,
whoa, she does have humor. That was great.
Yeah,
that was probably my second favorite moment. Either that or Anthony Hopkins, because he's always my favorite moment.
I mean, the man is class personified.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we've talked before about both Mike and I have met Anthony Hopkins at different times. I've met him a couple times, so has Mike. He's always just been the most pleasant, wonderful person to speak to. I love seeing him at the Oscars. So I'm always like, yes, there's a gentleman there.
Yeah.
How about you, Dan? What was your runner-up moment?
I'm trying to think of a single moment. I had a moment where I was very excited that Dune got, like, was it 4 Oscars in a row?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like one after the other, and that got me very excited, even though it didn't win, spoilers, but it didn't win some of the bigger ones. I was very excited that it was winning so many in a row and just receiving so much recognition by everybody. So I think just how many it won and how many it won in a row was very exciting to me as a, huge fan of the movie. I don't know if that's a single moment, but that was just when I got the most excited.
Every time they said the words Dune, Dan was like, what?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Well, I love how they all shouted out Denis Villeneuve as well. Just like very much like he is the man who put this all together, and
he's
we're
the man.
winning all of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like,
there was
you should remember this.
There was a moment where I had found out what best director was right before it came up, and it's just like, Dan, it wasn't Denis Villeneuve. And then Dan looked like legitimately depressed, like, oh man, because he forgot that Denis Villeneuve was a nominee. He got depressed all over again about it.
You got to root for the underdog. Like, he wasn't nominated, but maybe
the write-in candidate.
Maybe they'll still give it to him. You never know.
And in a surprising turn of events, no one that was nominated. How about you, Jesse? What was your runner-up?
All right, so the slap happened, right? And the whole time, I was basically invested in the show because, like, Dan and I, we had done the app where we were tracking everybody's score about, like, who got what right.
Yeah.
So I was constantly rooting for whoever I voted. But then when Best Actor came, I was just like, oh, I hope it's Will Smith. I want to see Will Smith up there giving a speech after slapping the shit out of Chris Rock. And then he did. There was cheering in the room just so we could see what this moment would be like. And the moment was far too long.
Oh my gosh.
But it was like dirty laundry flying in the air right in front of us, like, oh yeah, I just did something. I just slapped the shit out of Chris Rock, and here I am accepting an award.
My bad.
Crying and not apologizing.
Apologizing to the Academy, but not Chris Rock.
I'm sorry you had to see me put that guy in his place.
That was the tone, and it was a funny tone. Of course he didn't apologize to Chris Rock, because Chris Rock did insult his wife. And so maybe Chris Rock doesn't... Well, no, Chris Rock still deserved an apology, and he shouldn't have done that. But it was... He also had some good lines in the speech.
Yeah, one of the best lines in his speech was a line that Denzel gave him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, what was the actual line?
Oh, I don't have it pulled up.
At the height of your achievements,
the devil will come for you. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Something. It felt scriptural.
Yeah.
Joe, how about you? What was your runner up?
I'm going to go a different direction here. Not necessarily a moment, but I'm going to give a shout out to the producers and the director, Glenn Weiss, for doing something that was a little controversial going into the Oscars, but the way that they managed cutting the craft awards, the technical awards that they were doing during commercial breaks and inserting them. There was a lot of uproar about that from, best costume design and all those minor awards that we could never get them cut, but the show is kind of stale. And it needs
too long.
It's too long. It's just way too long. And those, the first hour and a half of that show used to be nothing but those minor technical awards. And I feel like they did it tastefully and credit to them because they were editing those almost in real time to get them to play back from the truck almost immediately.
Yeah.
But I feel like they did a good job and struck a very happy balance that I think a lot of those crafts and technical people will be satisfied with, because they still gave them a shout out and still gave them their 15 seconds of fame, but didn't let them go on for 3 minutes. And I think that helped the pacing of the show significantly.
Yeah, I liked it.
It really felt like it was moving to the last 45 minutes.
Yeah. The Will Smith speech.
When Will Smith and then the Bruno song. I felt like the Bruno song just dragged it on too long.
Yeah, but I will give one shout out. I thought that technically, from a television perspective, that was pretty impressive that what they did. Because if you notice, the first 45 minutes to a minute and a half of that was one long tracking shot on a Steadicam.
Yeah.
And that Steadicam operator was just going back, walking backwards the entire time, and he had
downstairs
a little bit of spinning.
Yeah, he had a tech guy behind him wrapping cable, and a stage manager kind of just guiding him through there. And then there was probably 6 or 7 other stage managers queuing on all those other people. But that Steadicam op, I don't know who it was. I'm sure that I know him. But he had to know that choreography of that down to a T, so that he knew exactly where to turn the camera to, how to rack the focus, to know the exact distance between that person and where the camera was. It was just a very, very impressive technical little moment during that.
Yeah, it was. I just wish what was on the camera.
Yeah,
a little better.
Well, it's funny because like we live in a world of like VOD and everything is streamed, and recorded after the fact. I feel like maybe we don't appreciate things that are live and like done really well live.
Yeah.
One of my sister-in-law during the show, she's like, "Hey, the subtitles are kind of like lagging." And I was like, well, it's because it's live. Like they don't know what the person's about to say. They can't put the subtitles up quickly enough for us to see them at the same time. And it made me realize that like, we don't really watch, at least my family, like we don't watch things happening live very often.
Yeah.
Everything is after the fact. It's all recorded and video on demand. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you say that, like that watching it live, you have a greater appreciation for how the camera work was done and everything. And the cues, because it is probably an art that's kind of being lost.
Yeah. And it's daring. I got to give them credit. I mean, it is daring to do things live. And they could have easily shot that up on stage and they could have made that much simpler. But they decided to go for it. And I've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I was digging the beginning. Like I said, I actually like that we didn't talk about Bruno like as a performance up until the rap solo came.
Well, I mean, even moving to a different song, like Beyonce's number. I mean, that was really impressive as well.
Yeah. But that wasn't live. So they had a few takes on that, I'm sure.
I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All I saw was it said live in the corner of my screen, so I didn't know that I was being shown a recording on live TV.
Maybe it was live, but I can't imagine. I don't know why they would do it live. Yeah,
it just said ABC Live in the corner, and I was watching it, and it looked really cinematic.
It did not look live to me.
I am 95% certain that was a playback.
I mean, I believe you.
Okay.
I just know it was on my TV.
They may have pre-recorded it even 5 minutes before it went live.
Oh, sure.
We call that live to tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can play it back live, but if, say, Beyonce tripped and fell during that performance, if you don't have to do it live, you can cover yourself and give yourself that 5 minute. But they might have done that this morning.
Sure.
And recorded that. And also the beauty of that is, with the musical performance, sometimes, especially doing something live, the artist can take a longer guitar solo, or they can extend the musical performance out longer than we had it timed out for. So on a show like the Oscars, where they quote unquote try and get it timed out to the second, they never do because it always goes over.
Yeah.
But if you can get as many prepackaged tape elements that you can play back, that gets you helps you significantly get the show to time and get the show as close to being under 3 hours as possible, because they know exactly to the 10th of a second how long Beyonce's performance is going to be going into the show. It's not a variable moment on that. And they know it's going to be perfect. Unlike the Steadicam shot, which is daring and live, they know it's going to be perfect because it's in the can.
I see. I'm learning so much. Thanks for sharing, Joe.
No worries.
Well, maybe we can move to the awards itself. So I meant to write down the order that they were presented in, but there were a lot of kids running around, and I didn't know it. Did anyone take note of that? Otherwise, I'll just go from the bottom of the list and go up to the top.
Just go from the bottom to the top. Oh, we did not do that. There was also children. Children were throwing things downstairs. Children were screaming. Kids were crying. Kids were being fed.
Yep.
It was
throwing children downstairs.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Kids are throwing other kids. Yeah.
I threw all the kids at a certain point.
Okay, I made Joe's kid cry by talking to her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Kath is in a mood right now.
I made Vito's kid cry by holding her.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old, and my 6-month-old cried the second hardest she's ever cried in her life because her godfather picked her up. The scream was unreal, and it went on for forever. She screamed for a long time.
Do we all have infants here?
Yeah.
I've got a 5-month-old. You got a 3-month-old?
Yep.
You've got a 3-month?
Basically 3-month-old.
Yeah.
So we're all not sleeping right now.
No. That's why we're all up right now.
Not at all.
This is the only time I get to feel like a human.
Exactly.
But okay. So I've decided to cut, again, for sake of our brevity, the shorts. I'm going to ruthlessly do what the Oscars also ruthlessly have done, is just cut the shorts, because I don't know, man.
No one cares.
Wait,
no one cares.
No, but Dan wanted to call out one, right?
Dan, please call out one.
Okay, the only one. Give me 10 seconds. The only one that I was like, hey, this is actually. I have a buddy at a previous job I worked that was really into short films. He'd always share them with me whenever they were really good. Anyways, the windshield wiper, the one that actually won. Yeah, the animated short film. I was actually kind of rooting for it because it was really good. It's about like all these different kind of ideas of love and different ways that we think of the word love. It's a very, very well done short film. And like for anybody that's into short films, that's, watched anthology series or anything like that, it's by the same group that did one of the Love, Death, and Robots episodes.
Oh, I love that show.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same group of people that did one of those episodes. So they're just like top notch in the game. And
all right, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's kind of strange, but it's good. It's very good. And I definitely would recommend the windshield wiper.
So Dan, I actually ended up watching the windshield wiper last night. After we were messaging on Slack, and I was like, well, I haven't really seen any of them. And you were like, well, I've got, like, I care about some. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to watch all of them tonight. And I watched one. So just so happened it was the right one to watch.
Awesome.
Which I'm glad about. It was really cool, like incredible art style, and it was beautiful. It was moving. It touched me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you watched it. That's awesome.
I know we have a previous guest, Dominic, is out there right now just shitting himself because we are treating this with no importance, and he watched every single one of them in the space of like 3 days because he's a crazy person. Sorry, Dominic.
He doesn't have children.
No, he has all the time in the world to do cool stuff. But let's start here with.
Can I just show you guys the front page of the New York Post?
Is it? It's a picture of
Best Smacker. Oh, if you can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
That's great.
Finally, Oscars are a smash hit.
It looks
I told you it'd be a new award.
Yes.
New award, the Smackter Award.
Best Smackter. And Smacktress, all right? We need to be inclusive.
Yeah.
But maybe starting here, let's just start with our writing, original and adapted screenplay. So original screenplay won for Belfast. Not other nominees were Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and Worst Person in the World. How do you guys feel about this? Joe, I know you're a big fan of this one.
I was very happy to see Kenneth Branagh win it, especially because it's such a personal story with him growing up in the Troubles in Northern Ireland. So I thought I was very happy to see it win, and I thought it was well deserved.
Yeah. No, I don't have much to fight with on this one. I mean, my favorite movie of last year was Licorice Pizza. I thought that was beautifully written, but I also understand that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
That movie's too bogged down in controversy. But Belfast, it's a sweet little movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
I was pleased with the Belfast win. Yeah.
It's probably, honestly, Belfast is probably the movie I'll go back to like in a couple years and be excited to watch again. And it's because it's written well and the music is good and everything's good about it.
Yeah. We might even do an episode on it someday. But for writing adapted screenplay, our winner was Coda. Other nominees were Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. I kind of felt like if you were going to give Dune a real one that wasn't just for how beautiful and technically incredible it was, it would have been nice to just have Denny win something, and this would have been a nice place for it to be.
Yeah.
I don't think that the true strength of Coda, if it has a lot of strength, is in its screenplay. This was a weird win for me. How did you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Denis Villeneuve did the impossible by adapting Dune, but I guess he hasn't fully adapted it yet, right?
That's true. He's half done.
Yeah, he's only half done.
Yeah, maybe next
that's
year he'll probably get it when the whole story is actually finished. But for the first half of the book that he adapted to screen, it was really well done.
50% was 100%. All right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel like what that movie really did deserve was an adapt to screen, like recognition, because that is the true magic of that film. That vision was taken to the screen. So
the unfilmable novel was filmed.
Yeah. It's the reward it deserved the most, and it didn't get it. So that was disappointing.
Screenplay also is directly like the words that are spoken, right? The screenplay is the dialogue.
It's the script.
It's the script, right? So it could also be seen as like, like everything about Dune I love, but the script,
pretty minimal.
It's also just the script. Like it could have been better or worse, and I would have still loved the movie. I don't think that like that was the thing that stood out the most to me as the thing I loved. Was like, oh, what they said was what I loved, or how they said, the lines that were spoken.
Yeah.
But maybe there's more to the script too, like with, the direction and everything.
Oh, there totally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just the actions and, the description of how the shots will be set up. But I think this is actually this might be the most difficult category from a practical sense for somebody, for the nominees. Because if you think about it, with the exception of maybe The Godfather, think of a book that's been adapted to a movie. Everybody always says the book's better.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a no-win situation adapting a book to a movie. So I think these it is a very, very difficult challenge. But I'm gonna hate on it, but I'm gonna give her some props here because I've made my feelings clear about Power of the Dog. I got to give Jane Campion some credit because if the book was anywhere near as boring as the movie, I can't imagine adapting that screenplay. I mean, you just have to sit and read that hundreds of times.
I actually thought Jane Campion would get the Oscar for this. But it also occurred to me just now that maybe writing a script for sign language might be
that's got to be
tougher.
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah, that's tougher than I've actually.
It's probably a lot easier when you're adapting a movie into another movie.
Yeah, that's so this is really interesting here because Coda was adapted from a movie, a French movie, made 10 years ago or something like that, which I haven't seen. And all the rest are books, which is interesting.
Books are short stories, yeah.
Books are short stories, right? Like Drive My Car is adapted from a short story that probably takes less time to read than to watch the movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know. It's just interesting. I wonder how much adaptation had to go into The Lost Daughter, or like Elena Ferrante's writing style is pretty much straightforward, right? So like, do you just take that and make a movie?
What are some other movies that are adapted from other movies? I can only think of one.
I know. What?
La Cage aux Folles was turned into The Birdcage.
Right. And I never saw the original, but I like the new one.
Yeah. But I can't think of any other...
You mean like Academy Award winners?
Just in general. Or they take a foreign movie and they adapt it to make it, and then do a good job making it.
Good job. Okay, well, now that you clarified that, I was about to say The Ring, or there's a bunch of like
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Did that win any Academy Award?
Yeah, those were Dutch movies,
nominated
right?
for a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With Noomi Rapace. I thought both those were pretty good. Actually, I don't know.
I only saw one. It was a lot.
Or there's that vampire movie. There's the American version.
Let Me In.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let Me In adapted from Let the Right One In, and I think both those are pretty good. I mean, yeah,
there was
it happens.
Never Say Never Again was adapted from Thunderball.
There you go.
It's good.
50 Shades of Grey adapted from Twilight.
It's true. Twilight fanfic. Yeah.
That's like that went through. Man, that should win like best adapted screenplay because that's like 5 or 6.
Best adapted screenplay.
Yeah. We're just copy and pasting at this point. Right. We don't know who's doing what.
But yeah. So none of them are. I don't think stellar. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Let Me In is pretty stellar. Some people are like, you could never touch Let the Right One In. But I thought Let Me In was, I mean, it's a way more accessible than Let the Right One In, which I appreciate.
I had never thought about sign language being in a script. So I think that's pretty brilliant. That's
I don't know. I don't even know what that looks like. Maybe I should look up the script sometime. But
Or we could look up The Sound of Metal from last year, which we all loved.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which didn't get anything, right?
No, it got Best Sound.
Best Sound Design.
Best Sound, yeah.
We're skipping the technical awards.
All right.
So going over to visual effects, another Dune winner here.
Oh, definitely
beat Free Guy.
Imagine if Free Guy won an Academy Award. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I felt like I heard your sigh of relief, Vito, when Free Guy did not win.
Yeah.
You did. I was really happy that just came and went. No Free Guy. But No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Dune's great. This one I felt was fair.
Yeah.
Justin Mead.
I mean, the CGI, you can't have that movie without CGI. And it was brilliant. Like, there are some parts in Shang-Chi or Spider-Man where the CGI took me out. Like in Shang-Chi, it's the last final fight scene. It's like, oh, you were standing on CGI rocks, people. And then there's like some CGI in Spider-Man. It's like that nanotech, man. That is just CGI. Or Free Guy. Free Guy is Free Guy.
I did feel like if there was a movie that I would have been okay with Dune losing to, honestly, Shang-Chi would have been it. I watched that in the last few weeks, and I thought it was very impressive. like even in the Marvel, 30 plus movies at this point, I thought it was standout, exceptional. So
the rings were rad as hell. I've never seen that idea before. That seemed was really unique to me.
All right, sorry. Wait, hold on. Sidebar. Yeah, this is a pure sidebar. Joe just showed us a tweet.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna steal a joke here. Chris Rock was really smart. I'm glad that Chris Rock didn't tell a joke about Alec Baldwin's wife.
All right.
And back to the topic.
All right, gotta call out of that sidebar. I'm not sure if we want to get bogged down with Alec Baldwin, so
let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Moving to sound. Fun. Here we have another Dune win. Nominees: Belfast, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, West Side Story. Again, I'm good with Dune here.
Dune's great.
Dune's great.
Dune's
Power of the
it.
Dog. You hear wind, a lot of wind.
Yeah.
Belfast, a lot of Van Morrison. No Time to Die, great bullets. West Side Story, immersive sounds of snapping. Lots of snapping. They got the snaps timed.
Yeah, and Dune, part of the magic is the immersion and the CGI, the sound, the music, everything about that movie doesn't ever take you out of it. So,
just
the fact that they can...
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
Go for it.
Think about, the worm, the sandworm. The sound when the sandworm's, standing over... I don't know. The whole thing was just so...
When the bagpipes are blaring and there are missiles being launched at force fields, and I never doubted that is the sound that force fields should make when missiles are slowly going through them, or that when laser guns are being shot out, that's what laser guns sound like. It never occurred to me oh, that's weird. It was super immersive. When you don't, with CGI and sound, if you don't notice something as bad and you are actually hearing it and contemplating those things as being good, then I feel like that deserves awards.
Yeah. The way they did the voice, I think was
the voice is
really, really brilliant.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
In our IMAX screening, it shook our... Before he even said anything, there was this bass boom that shook all the seats, and then he said something, and that was arresting.
We all started passing water to each other. I don't know what was going on.
Production design, also Dune, alongside nominees Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. I think it's kind of funny that Power of the Dog is nominated here. Not a lot of decoration happening on these sets. These are pretty bare sets.
Pretty sparse.
Maybe intentionally so, but not much going on. I don't know. It's great that this is for Dune again. I'm really happy with it. Nightmare Alley was really cool looking though. Some really gorgeous carnival shit.
Yeah. I thought Nightmare Alley would win this because it did have good style. It has Guillermo del Toro, every time he does a movie, he has really great style in his movies, and he knows how to kind of make a whole world seemingly come together, and he did that.
I'm pretty sure he owned most of the props that were in this movie. He's like, I think I have that in my back room.
Yeah, good. I got
an electric chair.
House. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually my other house. Yeah.
I think it was pretty obvious that for these categories that Dune was easily the most visually impressive film of all of the lot. And I think we all probably picked Dune for all of these, right?
I actually picked Nightmare Alley for this particular one.
Same. Actually, I did too.
Oh, really? We
both
lost out on that. Yeah.
I think I picked Dune.
I kind of picked Dune for most things if I saw it there. It seemed like the best bet.
Yeah, but then I saw a picture of Dune, like, oh man, I should have picked Dune. That looks cool.
Okay, moving over to music. Original song. This is a very silly category, and I'd love to actually start a podcast just going year by year and doing the original songs, because you find some wackadoo shit in here.
If I was on
there's a fantastic YouTube clip of that goes from the 60s. There are songs that you never even heard of. Surprising ones too. But yeah, there's a fantastic YouTube video clip that I've watched recently about that.
Oh, what's it called?
I'm gonna have to look it up. Or if you remember
it's just clips of all of the... For a while there, the 90s, Disney won everything.
Oh, yeah.
With, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, the Toy Story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was that Peter Gabriel song from Tarzan.
Oh,
Yes.
Tarzan.
yeah.
You'll Be in My Heart.
Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Sorry, not Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
Don't knock You'll Be in My
Disney
Heart.
just like...
But interrupted. Only Titanic interrupted that flow for like 1 year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why Encanto didn't win. Maybe they're just like still trying to get off of the Disney, I don't know, fan
Pixar.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish was my second pick. So, yeah, I had picked Van Morrison. I really like the Belfast Van Morrison song.
They're not going to give it to such a staunch anti-vaxxer who couldn't even go to the ceremony.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think
No Time to Die.
Adele really opened the door up to James Bond movies winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a James Bond movie had won prior to that, despite having some pretty iconic songs.
Sure. Like Skyfall was the one that convinced them, like Casino Royale was not a one-off. These could be prestige movies that could be nominated for awards, and it's okay for you to like them. This is the action franchise you can like, Oscars.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have bet against it. I did bet against it here. I thought that Dos Orgatos would get it. And I just like it a little bit more because No Time to Die feels like No Time to Die feels like a weird carbon copy of Skyfall, and Writings on the Wall feels like a bad carbon copy that like fell in the water and then someone had to microwave it dry. Like, I don't know how much more we can keep doing this. We need another like peppy James Bond song.
I like the Chris Cornell one from Casino Royale.
Yes, You Know My Name.
Yeah, that was the graphics on that intro were awesome too.
Yes. Oh, yeah, all the guys with like the spade people. Yeah.
Yeah, the card animation of like spears going through is really cool.
Yes. It's one of the best.
That was one of those, that opening scene. I'm sorry, we're getting totally off topic here, but that opening scene, black and white, with James Bond and Daniel Craig killing that guy in the sink, and then that Chris Cornell song, breaking away from like the stupid Madonna songs of the late Pierce Brosnan era, really like just set the tone immediately that Casino Royale was going to be a different James Bond movie.
Exactly.
Did anybody?
And that Daniel Craig was going to be a totally different James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scene is iconic. That's when he gets his 00 status.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the movie, right? Yeah. That is classic.
And he just drowns the guy in the sink. He was like,
in the sink. It's like, this is dirty. This is dark. That's not your father's James Bond right there. Sorry, Jesse.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's our generation. Yeah.
Did anybody vote for Billie Eilish winning?
I did not.
Me neither. I did it in Encanto. Dos Arigatos.
I did enjoy seeing her like pick up the Oscar with her brother. That was it seemed like a cool moment. Yeah.
And she did a great live rendition of the song.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely proved her artistic ability to like perform it that well. Her voice is incredible.
Yeah.
So she definitely deserved recognition.
Also, I know she has a thing about people not commenting on her body, so she purposely wears baggier clothing. And to see her on the stage with like much baggier clothing than anybody else walking around, it's kind of funny. It's very like it's anti-Academy in a lot of ways.
It was really cool though because she's so pale, and they picked such a dark, outfit for her.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell. She didn't even look like a person. She looked like an ethereal head floating around the stage, and it was a really cool effect because everything else is so dark too. I thought it looked stunning.
Yeah, it did look cool. Yeah.
We can come back to this later, but I have an insight on the Chris Rock Will Smith slap that a coworker of mine just texted me.
Interesting. I think we need to do that.
Yeah. Break sidebar
right now.
Yes.
Okay, so it's another sidebar.
We got a slap bar.
If you remember last year, they did it at Union Station in LA, and they had more of like a lounge feel to it, where they had like cocktail tables and they were all sitting around that. I think they tried to replicate that again at the Dolby Theater. So that first, like, they killed the first, like, 10 rows of that theater and put those little lounge seats there.
Right.
And there wasn't, like, a big, giant staircase as usual to get up there. So he was saying that had this been your typical theater seating, Will Smith wouldn't have jumped over seats to get at Chris Rock.
Yeah.
But he was right there in front of him. And there was no stairs to walk up.
He's in the front row.
He was in the front row at those like lounge chairs. There was nothing obstructing him to get right up there. So if this had been a normal year with the normal set design of the Oscars that we've seen for the last 95 years or whatever, I don't think Will Smith jumps up on stage like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But they brought the stage so close to those lounge chairs that it was like a 10-foot walk for him.
Yeah.
They were inviting Will Smith up there, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So I think
he was asking for it.
Yeah.
I think we could say bye-bye to this setup for the Oscars forever.
Yeah,
Or
I think
never.
so.
Or
Hopefully
never,
they get like bike rack and guardrails next year.
Right.
Or maybe we can put all those tables closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just put the stage in the middle of the room and just have all the seating radiate outward from it. That way anyone can reach them at any point.
It's like a cage match.
Yes.
Cage match. You're going to make fun of someone, they have to be in a cage with you.
Exactly.
Very small cage.
Say it to their faces and take the hit. Someone who did win that we couldn't see their face, though, was the winner for music of original score, which was Hans Zimmer, again for Dune. I saw a Twitter post of Hans being woken up at 2 a.m, I believe, in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Being told that he won, but he wins, and Momoa accepted the award for him, and that was cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I read
How
he
many
was
has
on.
he won now?
I'm not sure.
I read Hans has been on an international tour, so he's out doing his own thing. So he
I was
wasn't
wondering
able to be
why he
there.
wasn't there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have been really cool to have seen him. And
but
it's
also,
pre-taped.
he deserves that for Dune. Again, like the music in Dune is really varied and always gives a different feel, and it's very like unlike the style that we've been getting more, which is like with the music kind of blending into the background. This music is more in your face.
He invented a
more
whole
than
new
I've heard.
instrument to do this. Like he went on the Big Picture with Sean Fennessy. They had a really, really beautiful, lovely interview there, and he talked about the process and everything. And it sounded like a bitch and a half, but it sounded like he had a really good time doing it. I love that he went.
I guess this is only his second Academy Award that he's won.
What?
Really?
Lion King.
Please tell
Lion
me.
King
Yeah, Lion
Okay.
King was the
and
first
Dune.
one. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been nominated like a dozen times, but this is only his second time winning. So
Okay.
I think that's cool. Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception, everything he's been nominated for. But yeah, I think he's long overdue for a win.
Well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think I still prefer the Lion King, but I think this is my second favorite Hans Zimmer.
Hans
Sure.
Zimmer did the score to The Thin Red Line, the film that my mother worked on.
That's right. That's right. It's actually a
Which
good
he
score. I've
lost
heard
to.
it.
She lost.
Thin Red Line just got snubbed that year. And if you go back, it's better than Saving Private Ryan. I will
All right.
hold that till I die.
So if we ever do Thin Red Line, you're gonna have to be on it.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Or we'll do Thin Red Line, and then you got to be on for Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, there we go.
I like Saving Private Ryan, but
Yeah.
if you look
Look,
at them side, do them back to back, you'll see that The Thin Red Line was a better movie.
Okay. I mean, I'm totally open to it. I was a kid. I
Yeah.
haven't rewatched them. I need to. Another score, though, I did want to shout out is that I really liked the Power of the Dog score.
Oh,
I really liked
yes.
Johnny Greenwood.
Yes.
And I love his other score that he did that he was snubbed for this year. What's it?
What
The
was it?
Princess Diana movie.
Spencer.
Spencer.
Yeah,
It's a
I
great
thought-
score.
I thought that I actually like that score a little bit more.
Mhm.
I mean, like,
Ooh.
not
It's
because
definitely
I think
weirder.
the Power of the Dog just made me tense the whole time.
Sure.
I would just felt
Mhm.
bad. It made me
Yes.
feel bad partly because of the music.
Fantastic score.
It did
Yes.
its job. Spencer
Yeah.
also made me feel bad, but like pretty,
Mm.
you know?
Bad but pretty. The title of your memoirs.
That's the title of my memoirs. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take that as a compliment.
You should.
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
thank you.
I do love the Power of the Dog score. I think it was my second favorite, but
Yeah.
still Dune takes the cake for me.
Makeup and hairstyling. The cake that you're referring to, Jesse, that cake was smashed directly onto Jessica Chastain's face for multiple hours every day to give her this look of being an alien, or of Tammy Faye Baker. I don't want to call her an alien, but she has a very distinctive look that does not look very much like Jessica Chastain. And they did a lot of work on her, and she's talked this whole award cycle about how amazing the makeup team was and how it wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been the role if they hadn't been there.
Sure.
So that's pretty cool. It's there. I know that there were some people pushing for a Cruella win, but this one, I don't know. This one always seemed like it was going to the eyes of Tammy Faye. It was just so much work,
Yeah.
I did not see the movie, but like from what you're saying, that sounds right. If you can transform somebody convincingly, yeah, it deserves it.
They did the Oscar-y thing. And of course, they did the Oscar thing also with House of Gucci by making Jared Leto be a a 50-some-year-old fat Italian man who says "boof" unironically, but it wasn't as impressive. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye recently, and what I was thinking the whole time during it was they could have waited another 100 years for a good actress to come along that looks more like Tammy Faye to play this role, or they can do what they did, which is hire the best, makeup and hair stylists to come in and convert someone, like completely transform them into Tammy Faye. And that's what they did, is they took Jessica Chastain, who's amazing, and totally transformed her. And I was very much, I was very pleased by this. I thought they totally deserved it. It's amazing what they did to her. Just like, I kind of assumed at the time when I was watching it that maybe she had done some sort of physical, like, I don't know, like almost like overeating, or like actors and
like
actresses
a Christian
do this
Bale
thing.
sort of thing.
Yeah, like maybe she had done something to her diet or to her physique to make her look more like it, but she didn't. Like, she looks great, and this in this award you could see she looks very, very thin, slender, healthy, and I was like, wow, the makeup and hairstylist really did an amazing job to make her look like Tammy Faye.
Yeah, and I think maybe we can just shift over, just so we don't have to come back to this, but to talk about actress in leading role being Jessica Chastain, who gets it. And I feel like these two awards go hand in hand here right now. Like, she sounds a lot like Tammy Faye Baker, and got her mannerisms down, the weird little tics that she had, and the vocal tics, and her with her little puppets, which is a really bizarre thing. But I was a little surprised to see her win. I wondered if it was going to go Olivia Colman again. But I did pick Jessica Chastain for this. Were you guys surprised at all?
No, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
That was my pick as well. I thought she deserved it. I thought just like she did not look like Jessica Chastain in her mannerisms, in the way she acted. If you had told me it was Jessica Chastain, like if I had not known it, I would not have believed it. She totally transformed in this movie, and I thought she did a great job. So I picked it, and I had watched a lot of the other movies that had Best Actress nominations, and after seeing The Eyes of Tammy Faye, I was actually excited to I wanted her to win. So that kind of, that to me was, I don't know, for me that made her a personal favorite.
How about you, Joe? Did you see The Eyes of Tammy Faye?
I did not see it. So I did not pick Jessica Chastain.
Who'd you pick?
Who are the nominees again?
We got Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, and Kristen Stewart.
You put oh, you did.
Oh, I did.
You did put Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, you won. I can't see it.
I thought I picked Kristen Stewart.
He didn't deserve it, though.
No, I would have gone with Kristen Stewart.
I picked Kristen Stewart. Yeah, because I didn't see Eyes of Tammy Faye either, and for some reason it was like I just didn't get to see a lot of the Best Actress movies or Best Actor movies. Everything else I got to, but I don't know. Spencer was wild. Spencer was weird.
Spencer was a feel bad time, that's for sure.
It felt like Darren Aronofsky. But
yeah.
That doesn't sound like the movie I want to see. Which is why I haven't.
A surprising amount of puking.
Yeah. I did not see a lot of the Best Actress movies either, probably. Like, a lot of them seem like real downers.
Yeah.
That's how you can act, how you can pull the drama out.
Sad is happy for deep people, Jesse.
Sad is happy. But it's not just sad. It's like real downers. Like, wow, life is just shit.
Life is shit, and this is the movie based on that life.
I mean,
Life is shit. The movie.
Wrong. I'm basing it off of like mostly previews or
Life is shit. You're a princess.
Oh,
Spencer.
The
movie.
Yikes.
Amazing.
But going over here, international feature film winner, Drive My Car. Other nominees.
Yeah.
Not shocking.
I actively cheered. I love this movie. It's great, Jesse. It's great. Get on board.
Get on board the car.
I can't.
Get
I
in and
love
drive.
the car. I love the car scenes. I wish there was more of that.
It was.
How could there be more? I don't know how there could be more
actually
car scenes.
been more.
It was funny. Joe they showed like a trailer for the movie or maybe a clip from it, and Joe was like, "Hey, that's my car. Like they are driving my car."
Yeah.
That's such a cool car.
I used to have a 1987 Saab 900 Turbo. It was the first car. When I moved to LA, I bought it for $1,000 off Craigslist. And it is to this day my favorite car. So I didn't see that movie, but I am going to see it now just for the love of the Saab.
So you can see your car,
beautiful car
in motion.
Yeah. It's a brilliant car.
This is the only Best Picture nominee that I was unfortunately unable to watch all the way through. I'm an hour into it. I'm really loving it, but my children have been acting up, and I have not had the chance to really sink in here. The only other nominee I saw in the international features list was Flea, which I was really moved by. I know a lot of people haven't been liking it as much, but I thought it was very moving, and I appreciated that it's here. Yeah.
I felt so. I feel like I appreciated it less than you, and I feel like I don't know. What's weird about it? Like I don't really dig the animation style of it. It's very choppy.
It's very choppy.
And it kind of like makes me feel weird watching it. Because of the animation style. The story is very good. Like it's real. I don't know. Documentaries are weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know how
So your takeaway was, it made me feel weird. Documentaries are weird.
No, that's what I was just...
Concise thoughts.
I watched through some of the documentaries and like, I don't know how to watch a documentary. I don't know how to watch these movies, which is a weird thing to say.
All right. Well, you should watch some more. And then
I should.
And then when you see Lunana, the yak in the classroom, you need to report back. I know you're going to watch that.
I'm going to watch it. I'll say Hand of God is also fantastic.
Sorrentino.
There's some troubling things in it. Put that out there. But it's fantastic. So the description of the movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it, is like a boy gets saved by his soccer, saved from death during the summer by his soccer idol. The guy who's known for doing the Hand of God. I don't know soccer, but apparently it's really famous. This soccer guy moved to Naples and then like made a goal like by punching the ball, which you can't do.
It's still cool.
But he still won the game anyway. And like this is a big, well-known thing that I.
Is that where they cheated England out of the World Cup?
It was in like the 80s. It was in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s. I don't know.
I think it was in the 60s.
It was the 60s.
Before Mike was born.
Did you watch the movie?
It's very, very barely about that. So like I thought it was going to be all about like a kid and his soccer idol. It's not about that. This is just my pitch for this movie. Dom, friend of the pod, hated it. I highly disagree with it.
We'll have to check it out. I do like Sorrentino. I think he's a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Okay, editing. Dune against Don't Look Up, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom. Yeah. I mean, King Richard could have been it, and I wouldn't have been unhappy with that. That's actually something I liked about that movie, even though it's too long, that the tennis scenes are really, really well cut. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about film editing to really be able to geek out about like, oh, this movie was so well edited. I just know that, I don't know. I was there for Dune. I thought the pacing of Dune is really good.
Yeah.
And after having to do a lot of editing for episodes that we do, and understanding how time consuming and annoying that is, and it being an audio only medium, I cannot imagine how much more annoying it would be to have to combine audio and video. So
yeah. I mean, I guess that's right. Yeah, I don't really have much to say, other than like when I was watching Tick Tick Boom, I was actively annoyed by how scenes were cut and how it was switching from one thing to another and was jolting. So it was surprising to see nominated for that, for that and Best Actor, nothing else. It's like, well,
right.
One of those things it deserves, the other. Made me enjoy the movie less. Anyway, but what do I know? Clearly nothing about editing.
Just a little bit about cutting and pasting in Audacity, the same as me.
Yeah.
Documentary feature. The winner here is Summer of Soul, which is one of my favorite films of last year. I love that movie so very much. Really cool. Other nominees were Ascension, Attica, Flea again, and Writing with Fire. Mike, I know that you watched Attica, right?
I did. Yeah, that was a very troubling movie.
It's a bad time.
Bad time. Yeah. So it's about the biggest.
It's about Attica.
It's about Attica.
Attica.
Yeah. The
Dog Day
biggest,
Afternoon.
That's right.
Yeah. There you go.
The prison
you know
riot.
About it.
Yeah.
The prison riot. Biggest prison riot. It's very troubling. It kind of made me feel sick.
Yeah.
Which I think is what you're supposed to feel. So it did a great job.
I was happy for Questlove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that he gets to do his trailer for his upcoming documentary in last year's Oscars because he was DJing that.
Yes.
And then he gets to be here at this year's Oscars getting the award for it. That was cool. Good synergy. Did anyone else see any of these documentaries they want to shout out?
No, I wish I had seen more of these. My documentary game, I'm usually at least a couple years behind on the documentaries, but I'm definitely going to watch Summer of Soul. It's on my top list.
Gots to, man. It's a great time. He talked about just the way he described his method of choosing which footage to play. And he's like, yeah, I had 40 hours of footage and I just watched it for 6 months all the time, even when I was sleeping. And then I came up with this movie. I was like, you're a crazy person. That's a crazy thing to do.
I thought it was amazing to see people who had been there or performed at it, who had like maybe not done music since then, or like just it had been forgotten.
Yeah.
Because it had been eclipsed by other things like Woodstock. But like they're watching it for the first time and they're breaking down crying because like it did happen. Mm-hmm. I'm not the only person who remembers this.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It was
really moving.
Amazing. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Real quick shout out here to costume design going to Cruella. I'm mentioning this because I picked Cruella because that's the only thing that I liked in that movie at all was the costuming. That's a really long, very boring movie. But it has great costumes. So I'm glad I watched it for that.
I'm right there with you. That was my pick, and for the exact same reason. I was like, that's the only thing impressive about it, but it was very impressive.
Yeah, so. Great dresses. The one made out of garbage, fantastic garbage clothes. Let's see here. Let's go to cinematography. Dune again, winning against Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. I definitely had this picked. Greg Fraser is a guy I think that's really going places. I mean, he did Dune last year. He's got The Batman this year, and then Dune Part 2 next year. Like this is that's killer.
He's going to pick up a nomination.
Phenomenal cinematography. I actually had Power of the Dog for this because I love the cinematography in Power of the Dog.
Yeah, Ari Wegner, she did a really, really good job. They're really fantastic. Like making you feel so close and claustrophobic and scared. At the presence of Phil in the house,
out in the open, and still focused on an individual or a couple dancing on the mountaintop. That is beautiful. It looked really beautiful. Incredible.
Yeah,
I heard 2 weeks ago at the Directors Guild Awards, Steven Spielberg got up on stage to accept his nomination medallion, which is they give an award to all of the nominees.
Okay,
everybody gets a prize, and then there is a final winner. But in Spielberg, he got up there and he just started praising all of his fellow nominees, and he was talking about Dune, and he said something that I thought was very complimentary and impressive. He said, "Dune captured the desert like no movie had done since Lawrence of Arabia." It's
absolutely agree.
It took the cinematography of that made the desert a character unto its own. And I thought that was really impressive.
True,
and really, I mean, when you compare it to Lawrence of Arabia, I mean, you can't get better than that.
By Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. So if you're Denis sitting there, you're just like, oh my God, this is the greatest night of my life.
Yeah. You just start crying. You just start weeping.
And Denis actually told a very funny story when he got up on stage, because they all just praise each other at this award show. And he was saying he grew up in Montreal. And he said he was not an athletic kid. He was always a kind of nerdy kid. But in Montreal, every person has to play hockey. It's just like, you're born with a hockey stick in your hand. And he said everybody would get their custom jerseys made and everybody would have their names on the back. And they would get their favorite player put on the names. And he said, no joke. He's like, everybody would have Jean Leclerc and Maurice the Rocket Richard and Wayne Gretzky. He said he had Spielberg written on the back of his shirt.
Oh, cool.
Man,
Amazing.
I wonder how much that got him beat up.
Oh yeah.
Probably a lot.
Yeah. But still, the ball's on a kid like that. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, he knew what he
Wow.
was going to be when he was 8 years old, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Called a shot. I'm going to be a goat.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I did see a headline that they just started the pre-production or whatever the stages before actually creating the second Dune, and Denis Villeneuve has a quote saying, "This is the hardest thing I've done, is starting the second movie. Like, to start a follow-up to this is the hardest thing he's ever done."
Yeah.
And so I definitely am curious what that's going to look like for somebody like him. And
I'd be having panic attacks, man. Like this. Oof.
yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, we know he's done Blade Runner 2049, so we know that he's someone capable of following up on a style, like continuing that. So I've got faith in this.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact that
he take like a really long vacation after this.
Yeah.
From a technical perspective and literary perspective, this might be the hardest follow-up since Peter Jackson doing Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah. Only he was
Yeah.
able to do all of them at the same time, and Denis Villeneuve
kept
Yeah,
it
he
rolling.
just kept
Yeah.
going. Yeah,
Yeah. He's
And those
making
are
it
like-
separately.
kind of more normal stories. Like Dune is like the second half of
Weird.
Dune is
Yeah.
where things start going different from
From a normal
sort of the
story.
standard Messiah story, right? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly, like things start
Yeah.
getting weird.
It starts getting
Time
yeah.
gets whimy.
Yeah, time gets even weirder. There's more flash forward, possibly flashback sequences, and then I wonder if the third one's planned where he's gonna anyway. Whatever. Yeah.
We'll check
He's gonna
back
do
in.
great.
We'll
He's gonna
check
do
back
great.
in when we have our own Dune podcast,
gonna
which
be
it sounds like we're going to
That's
have
right.
to do.
Gonna have to Dune it.
All right, real quick, just got a few last categories here for our big one. Animated feature went to Encanto. I don't think that there was anything
Yeah.
else it was going to go to.
I
That
totally
felt like it was
wanted
pretty
that.
locked
Yeah,
up.
I wanted
am
that to happen.
surprised-
I'm glad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Flea didn't win in any of the three categories it was nominated.
I think it was up against really strong competition.
It was, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. But just it is a surprise.
Actress in a supporting role, Ariana DeBose walked away. Again, I think that's been telegraphed for a really long
Mhm.
time that was hers. And yeah, happy to see her there. She won over Jessie Buckley, Judi Dench, Kirsten Dunst, and Ingenue Ellis.
Yeah. She absolutely deserved it. I just love Jessie Buckley, and I thought that what she did in The Lost Daughter was great.
Well, maybe she'll be here next year when she's in Men.
I'm sure she's going to be here next year. She's going to be here for years and years. Like,
Yes.
she's just fantastic.
She's here to stay for sure.
Yeah, and probably good that she didn't win it for this movie because I think a solid movie, but like she's got more in her.
She's got Best Actress in her for sure.
Oh yeah,
So I'm excited to see what she does.
Actor in a supporting role. I was really happy about this though. Troy Kotsur for
Yeah.
Coda. I think,
Yeah.
I thought he
She
was
deserved that.
I thought he was the best one in that movie.
By
I thought he was
hands down.
incredible.
Hands down. I think
Hands
he
up.
was. Oh yeah, hands up. That's right. Yeah, maybe we should release a transcript of our podcast just for this.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
what was I going to say? Yeah. The main actress, I can't remember what her name is. She was good. She was solid. But
The daughter.
yeah,
I don't remember her name either. But his
Yeah.
wife was Marlon Maitland, right?
right.
yeah.
And
Madeline.
we mentioned her before.
Um,
Madeline, thank you.
But sorry, what's the guy's name? Troy
Kotsur.
Kotsur. He was the real heart in some ways of this movie.
Yeah.
Like while the daughter was constantly reacting to most of the things that he and the mother were doing, he brought like a lot of he brought it all like down to earth. He made it feel like it was real. I never doubted for a second that this guy was a deaf fisherman out there. And to actually see him at the rewards not like that was kind of shocking, which tells me
Yeah.
that he
I didn't.
that's a
I didn't
brilliant
know he
role.
had that much face under that much hair. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But mentioned here, he wins over Kieran Hines, Jesse Plemons, J.K. Simmons, and Cody Smith McPhee. Absolute travesty that J.K. Simmons is here. It's a very nothing role.
Really would have loved to see Ben Affleck here for The Last Duel.
Yeah, but apparently no one's seen it, and the only copy is held by Wanda Sykes. This is one of the dumbest jokes that was made.
It's one of the most
Oscar
tragic
podcast.
jokes because it's the truth.
No, it was funny.
It's nowhere here.
I thought it was very funny, and it was recognizing the elephant in the room. The fact that The Last Duel is not anywhere.
I don't know if there was an elephant, because I think, again, not enough people have seen it for it to be like.
No one felt bad.
No one got the joke. No one. They're like, "What movie are you talking about?"
What? I felt vindicated by that joke personally.
Yeah, I did too.
Seen.
I like that.
I got pissed. Just angry. But then the two nominees from Power of the Dog, Jesse Plemons has a couple great scenes. Cody Smith-McPhee, again, same.
Good.
But I don't know. This was a weird category this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like Jesse Plemons is the same character in every movie. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, he kills a child, so that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Except for Jungle Cruise. Remember when he's the crazy Nazi?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
He was a crazy Nazi in Breaking Bad, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Neo-Nazi. Not traditional.
Yeah.
He's got like 3 sort of aspects, and he can do 1, 2, or all 3 of them at the same time.
Yeah.
But the Irishman, he's that like quiet. I don't know.
He's in season 2 of Fargo as the husband of Kirsten Dunst, and I think that was actually what brought them together.
Yeah, that's where they met there.
And I love the character he plays in that season.
Yeah. The Butcher.
Yeah, but he's very quiet and very very hesitant, very unsure of himself. I love that character he plays. He's also in Black Mirror, in one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror. The
USS Callister?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
The Star Trek kind of.
Oh, yeah, the creepy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
He's also in Game Night, where he plays the creepy neighbor.
Yeah.
Who looks
3? What is it? 2 for 3? How could that possibly be profitable for Frito-Lay? I love that line. He's great.
Yeah. He's got a few different speeds. But this one was a little more personal, and he opened up a little more. It felt like it was a character, as Jesse Plemons' character I had seen before, but more able to emote and having deeper emotions. Like that scene on the mountaintop, I think is what cinched him the nomination for this.
I mean, it's the scene they showed,
Yeah.
Because I'm not alone. All right, but actor in a leading role, the slapster himself, Will Smith here for King Richard. He slapped his way to the top. He slapped down the competition. I don't know, any other joke you can think of. But he wins out over Javier Bardem, a joke nomination, in my opinion. Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, and Denzel Washington. What do you guys think about this? It seems like Will has been in the cards for a long time as being the guy, ever since King Richard was even talked about.
Yeah. Honestly, the King Richard movie is the only one I don't really have an opinion on, because I did not get around to watching that one. Unfortunately, I do want to watch it. But, Javier Bardem is a travesty to me, because he played Desi from the,
Desi Arnaz.
Desi Arnaz from I Love Lucy. Right?
Yeah.
The guy who is, if you look him up in the dictionary, he's the definition of suave. He's there. That is not Javier Bardem. Not by a long shot. That guy is imposing and he's great, but he is not Desi. He's
also very ugly. Desi Arnaz was a very handsome man.
Yeah,
he's famous for being handsome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Javier Bardem's famous for being ugly.
He's famous for playing villains, imposing villains. Yeah, I guess he is kind of
3 ugly villains. One of them was a skeleton guy in Pirates of the Caribbean. One of them had most of his face mangled in Skyfall, right? And then
one of them was the incarnation
No Country for Old Men
of chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
It really seemed like he was just he was just cast in the role because he had an accent semi-similar, meaning Spanish, to Desi Arnaz, and that was it. Yes. I thought that was awful. I don't know why he was cast as that. Also, I don't understand. I love Denzel Washington. I did not like him in Macbeth at all. He had one scene where he showed emotion beyond monotone.
Was that the one that they showed the Oscar clip of?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Other than that, he's one. Yeah.
No. You're wrong. No, he was great. He was fantastic. Are you kidding me?
He only had one spade.
What? Oh my gosh, no. I mean, like
good performative outrage.
Yes, sort of.
Like an hour in, I turned to everybody's like, "Are we purposely?" And I did mean this as a genuine compliment, and I still wonder if it was meant to be seen this way. That Macbeth is kind of stupid. Like he seemed like he was playing it off as like Macbeth is not very bright. That's what I was getting from.
Oh my god. Okay, last night
it's got to be one response.
Oh my gosh, I have so many different thoughts that are speeding through my brain
podcast
right now. I'm just stuttering here. I watched the Tragedy of Macbeth last night, and it's not my favorite version of Macbeth. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was beautifully filmed. I thought Denzel and Francis brought something new to the role. That was kind of dry and stale to me because I've seen this in every possible way it could be seen over the last 15 years. And I really enjoyed the way that they did it, the way it brought forward the destruction of unbridled ambition and possibility as he ruminates over the actions that he is going to take, the actions that he is taking, the actions that he has taken, how that destroys him as a man. I thought it was beautiful. And I think that he brings so much emotion to the role. I think watching the physicality that he suddenly explodes with at times is incredible. I don't think this is a role that he should have won Best Actor for. I think it's really good that this movie got the Oscar nods it got, like the nominations. I don't know if it deserved a win in any category, but I thought it was very, very well done.
I agree with everything you said about the movie, but not about Denzel. Yeah, at all.
Well,
he actively brought the movie down for me, and that's all I can say about it.
We'll have to talk about it a different time when we cover Shakespeare adaptations. But we got to get to in the final moments of our show, the big award, the actual maybe only semi surprise that I felt this evening. But so we have Best Picture. We have Coda winning out over Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. The word on the street has been that it was going to be Power of the Dog for months. And only in this last couple weeks, there was a little Coda surge. I don't know if that's just people seeing it more, or there was just a groundswell that seemed to happen. And it looks like it just carried it over the top. But I know that ever since I saw Power of the Dog, I was like, that's probably Best Picture. Yeah. And for it to have, 12 nominations? And for it to walk away with one win is very
It's a big
striking.
win, though.
It's a big win.
A big one.
Yeah.
But 1 out of 12, that's a terrible batting average.
Yeah.
You were the best director, but you didn't have the best cinematography. You didn't have the best story. You didn't have the best actors. Weird. That's a weird win.
It was funny. We were watching the red carpet, as we were getting ready for watching the actual Oscars, and everybody was talking about Coda. That's all everybody was mentioning on the red carpet. And my wife was like, "Oh, I think Coda's going to win, Best Picture." And everybody on the red carpet was like, "Oh, Coda, Coda, Coda." And I was like, I was totally surprised personally, because I loved, as much as I loved Coda, I didn't see it as a Best Picture front runner. And maybe if I watch it again, maybe I'll see more in it. I loved it, but not as top cinema or best in the game. So I do want to watch it again. I think the fact that it won will probably force me to watch it again sooner than I would have if it hadn't won. But I was a little shocked by this. Yeah. What about you, Joe? Were you surprised?
I was surprised. I thought that Power of the Dog was certainly going to win. But I am looking at this right now as we speak. Next year when we make our picks, we should just go look at the Vegas lines, because they were damn near perfect. They had Coda minus 155. They had Will Smith at minus 800. They had Jessica Chastain at minus 140.
Wow.
Jane Campion was a huge favorite, so that wasn't. The only ones that they got wrong, they got Belfast wrong.
For screenplay?
Yeah, this for screenplay. And they got Best Animated Short wrong.
Oh. Okay, so next time we're going to...
Literally, that's the only two that they got wrong.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I guess I should have just looked at Caesar's book.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then we'll all have just the same list next year.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know. Can you bet on those?
Yeah.
I think
had no
you guys
idea.
can. I don't know if like
we can't
residents,
in California.
Yeah.
We have to drive to.
I mean, if you Venmo me money, you can.
No,
we won't
would
be
never
doing that.
do something like that, Dan.
Maybe we should do this podcast from Vegas next year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That would be a ton of
Talking
fun.
about how much money we lost.
Wait, so Vito, okay, Coda, I think we all agree. Like this was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie.
I don't know, Joe, would you agree it's a good movie?
Okay, I guess
because I know
not,
you were pretty down on it.
I didn't see it.
Oh,
I thought you said you didn't like it.
What?
I thought you said you didn't like
There
it.
was Power of the Dog that you didn't.
Oh, Power of the Dog.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like it's good. Like it's fine. Like
It's
this
fine.
is a fun, enjoyable
it's a very
movie to
nice
see.
movie.
Like there's a lot of movies that I enjoy seeing
Yes.
that I don't think are the best picture of any given year or winners, and this is one of them.
Absolutely.
There's a lot that's really wonderful about it, a lot that's valuable and powerful in the representation it provides, in the and like the humanity it gives to people that I don't experience in my everyday life. That's one of the things I love about movies, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the one that I thought was the best movie of the year, and I think everyone else agrees here. So I'm wondering, Vito, what was your best movie of the year?
I mean, my favorite movie of the year was Licorice Pizza.
Okay. I guess we kind of did this before, but to like, are there any changes for anybody? Out in this category, like actual
are you
nominations?
saying this because you changed yours?
Well, no, my favorite movie of the year
your favorite was Drive My Car, right? Well, you're driving that car.
Well, on this list, it's changed to Drive My Car.
I know you love that movie.
I was just winding up so that I could say that.
I knew you would love that movie. I knew that'd be your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Just watching it, I'm like, oh, this is a Mike movie.
How about you guys? What's your favorite movie out these 10?
I think it's no surprise that Dune would have been my choice. I'm trying to like be open-minded about the choice of Coda, that it is a unique movie. I don't think there's been a movie that represents like, the deaf, like deaf people in this way. And it's not even like, oh, they just had this they just hired a few deaf people to act in it. They actually hired incredible actors to portray these deaf, adults and be the parents of a child and make a compelling story out of it. It is a really amazing feat that they did. And it was cool to see when, what's his name? Troy Kitsur, the guy that won the best actor, that like hearing him talk about that the director was the best communicator that he's ever met. Like those are praises that, is very unique. You never hear something like that, given to a team and a director of a movie like that. So in the way that it was unique, I think it does have like an elevated value. I don't think that it was just like, oh, it was just a gimmick or, like, oh, they're just trying to give it to, a underappreciated group of individuals. It really is a unique feat of cinema. So I try to view it like that. Like it is something that, the Academy Awards is trying to give a nod to something that's very impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Hallmark movie with some deaf people in it signing sometimes. They were central to the story. It was
built on that deafness,
Yeah, everybody who was signing was incredibly emotional and good. Like for the first time, I felt like I was really not for the first time. Now for the second year in a row, I felt like I was really witnessing people signing and as like real acting that I'd never seen before. And I thought that was really great. I consider this an S tier Hallmark movie. Like, this is Hallmark at its best. Like, I've never seen anything better. I think it's probably kind of degrading to say that it's Hallmark.
I feel like it transcends Hallmark.
It does. It does. But it is a good way to describe the feeling to those who have not seen it. And also, in looking back, like, I love Dune. And I would have loved it if Dune won. But Coda is the only movie on this list. And probably, no, I'm going to say the only movie the last year, besides like Encanto, where I can confidently go up to anybody and say, you should watch this movie. You'll like it. You'll at least like it.
Yeah.
You may even
think
there's
something very uncomplicated about it. And that's not putting it down. It's actually high praise.
That is high praise. Like, how many movies can you like just tell anybody you're going to like that? And that's a real bonding thing that movies are capable of doing. And that a lot of these other movies were not capable of doing. Like Power of the Dog, I won't recommend that to everybody. Belfast, it is a good movie, but it's pretty slow, and you have to be more into film to appreciate that, I think. Like Dune, it's long. And you have to be into sci-fi, or else you will not appreciate that. But Coda, everybody will like that.
What did you think, Joe? What's your favorite movie of the year?
As I said, I was all in on Belfast. I thought Belfast was brilliant. I thought, as I said, Power of the Dog, I thought that was going to win, just based on the results of the other award shows. But I wouldn't have been surprised to have seen Dune just because of the technical achievement.
Sure.
But it won all the technical awards, so that's kind of maybe its place.
Mm-hmm.
So it just certainly got recognized for that. So I'm happy to see that.
Do you think that Coda is the number one pick, or do you think that this is a result of the preferential ballot system?
Yeah, I think it's the number one pick.
Yeah. You think everyone just wrote down number one Coda?
Now that I look at the Vegas odds, certainly people saw that was coming, which I didn't know that, but yeah.
Nice. Well, we're going to wrap up our show here. Joe, is there anything you wanted to plug? Any socials you wanted to throw out there? Anything
absolutely
that you're proud
not.
of you want to point people to?
My socials are nothing but my dog and my daughters.
Don't follow him.
Yeah, I'm behind the scenes guy. I've got the only show that I have coming up. I've got the Glad Media Awards coming up, which are like the LGBT Oscars.
Sure.
And I've got the Kids' Choice Awards next week too. So
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, good times. It's
nice.
the Nickelodeon orange carpet.
Nice. Do they still slime people?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever get slimed?
Have you been slimed?
I've been slimed. I was slimed.
How is that not the first thing that you said?
I was slimed like 4 weeks ago, actually.
How is that?
Oh my gosh!
It's just water. It's water and cornstarch.
Dude, come on!
You just ruined my childhood.
But it's slime. It's actually slime.
Yeah. I felt so bad. We did this. It's going to come out in the next couple weeks. It's actually, I don't know when it's coming out, but it's called what it was called, the Slime Cup, the Nickelodeon Slime Cup, and it was a kids golf show where they like partnered celebrity kids with celebrity athletes or whatever, and a professional golfer, and they had the Paw Patrol hole. They had all kind, and I brought my daughter home a bunch of Paw Patrol stuff, which she thought I was like the coolest person in the world. Like I took a picture of Chase,
cool.
And she's like, "You met Chase?" Yeah,
I was in between shoots. He was really busy, but he squeezed me in.
but we shot it at the Rose Bowl. There's a golf course right next to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And so we shot it like on the golf course, and then the final hole we did like a Top Golf type thing inside the Rose Bowl.
Oh wow!
Cool.
But it was unseasonably cold that day in Pasadena. It was like 50 degrees, and then when the sun went down, it got down to like 40 something. Right. And then we slimed a bunch of celebrities. And they're sitting there dripping wet And the director's like, hold on a second, we need to get another shot. And like, these people are freezing their ass off. We need to get them off stage and get them into warm clothes. And I don't want to give it away because it might. I don't want to tell you who wins because the people who won got slimed. But like, these are major athletes and stars. And they just had to stand there for like 10 minutes just like shivering. Oh my God. Covered in green slime.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
Yeah, exactly.
They also get cold.
They also get cold.
But I have been slimed on the Kids' Choice Awards a couple years back. And it's literally water, cornstarch, and green dye.
I mean, it sounds ridiculously unpleasant, but I've always wanted it to happen to me.
Always wanted to be slimed.
We can all dream.
You made it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Joe. I hope it won't be the last time. I hope we had
anytime.
Nice. Well,
happy
for all of us
to come back.
Do it. We'll invite you back.
When you guys do Casino, let me know.
All right. Well, for all of us at Not Your Father's Movies, I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
I'm Dan.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Joe.
Good night.